Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the program, and it's that segment of the day where we chat to Imraan Choonara, the director of the Africa Muslims Agency, as well as personal mentor and excellence coach. And this program is brought to you courtesy of the Africa Muslims Agency. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Imraan, welcome back to the program.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Azhar. And today, technology is going to be our friend, man. Fired up.
Yeah. You're looking much, much more clearer on the other side, alhamdulillah. They're not pixelated and all fragmented, and your
Well,
voice
actually,
is
we have no water this
behind
morning,
you.
which is incredible. So I'm glad I'm looking good because we have no water, so I couldn't shower this morning. So yeah, so my son had a shower, and that was the last of the water. Not only our house, the whole area. So we're pretty fired up today. It's quite amazing.
Alhamdulillah, great news. Anyway, so listen, the entire month of Ramadan, I've heard you speaking on various topics, right? And almost every single day, you've mentioned a mentor, somebody either 20 years ago, or a mentor 4 years ago, or somebody that came into your life 10 years ago, and what you learned from them and how you have used that to become what you are today and to help so many other people. And I think it's very important that we look at the role of the mentor and that person in shaping your life and how this person can shape the lives of others.
Absolutely. I think that's a really good point to bring up because, and here's the thing, I didn't know I needed to have a mentor. I didn't understand the concept, actually, frankly. So I stumbled into it. And thankfully, okay, my dad, me growing up, he was always an open-minded person where he just met people around the world and people influenced him in his life and just perspectives and thinking, etc., etc. And he always taught me, my dad started teaching me about, you got to think. He said, think. He said, in our faith as well, he said, we are asked to think all the time, think. You're given a brain to think and not just to follow blindly as a sheep. And I said, okay, I don't know what that meant. I mean, I was a kid. And in my early 20s, funny enough, Allah has an incredible sense of humor sometimes. I think it's amazing. You must remember, I grew up in the south of Joburg in Lenasia. I grew up, let's just be honest, I grew up in the conservative society, male-dominated, if you want to call it, whatever you want to call it, right? And that's how I grew up, in this society in Lenasia. And then in my early 20s, by Allah's plan, it's just incredible. I was at a meeting somewhere, and this woman who was 35 years older than me, non-Muslim, from the US, so everything kind of opposite to me, so to speak, 35 years older than me, saw me at a meeting and started chatting to me about challenging myself to grow, and reading. I was not into reading at that time. And she said, you got to start reading if you want to grow. And I went to my dad and I was like, and he said, no, I think she knows what she's talking about. Because my dad used to be an avid reader and he used to always love reading a lot, and he said, when he dies, he's not going to leave us any money, but he'll leave us all his books. And when he died, I thought he was joking, but actually he wasn't. He left us no money, but he left us all his books, which is probably the best thing he could have done. So we don't fight about anything. But anyway, the point really is that so I started getting into reading, and then she started sowing into my life and challenging me. You see, a mentor, folks, is not someone who tells you what to do. And a mentor is different from a coach. Here's the other side of the coin, by the way. People think about life coaches. Don't get me wrong, life coach is very important. You see, Tiger Woods' coach cannot do what Tiger Woods can do. Hear me on that. Tiger Woods' coach cannot do what Tiger Woods can do. Because Tiger Woods is pro golf, whatever you want to call it. I don't know much about golf. But the point is, his coach can't do what he can do. But his coach is super valuable to him. Why? Because his coach has never done what he can do, cannot do what he can do, but his coach has an outside perspective. His coach is not him, he's outside. He can see what he's doing, where his swing, his grip, everything is wrong or whatever. He can tell him. He's an outside perspective. A mentor is different. A mentor is someone who's on the same journey as you, just a little bit further down the road. Mentor is different, you see. Coach, valuable because the outside perspective, they can give you an outside perspective on your life and give you ideas, whatever the case is. And that's really valuable. A mentor is someone on the same journey as you, a little bit further ahead of you, which means they've gone the same route, which means when they share perspective, it's out of wisdom and experience from the same route. They can tell you, go left, go right. Okay, I made that same mistake and that's what happened to me. Okay, that kind of thing, whatever the story is. And this mentor of mine, this woman started sharing with me about relationships, about my thinking, about challenging how I deal with issues and how I look at life, etc. And because remember, I came from a situation where I wasn't part of a business family for that matter, but in my 20s I got involved in business, etc. And then I lost everything and started again and all this kind of stuff. And she was very instrumental in getting into my head, in helping me think differently, view every situation differently. So even when I was financially broke, so to speak, in my early 30s, she is a very wealthy businesswoman, and she said to me, Imran, I will never loan you a cent of money. I said, oh, wow, that's incredible. She knew I was struggling. I had no food at home. She knew, I was struggling. I was really, really in a difficult situation. And she said to me, I'll never loan you money, never. She said, but I'll teach you how to make it. She said, because if I loan you money, and so as at that point, I really wished she would loan me money. Because, I really needed the money. I was stuck. And she said, I will teach you how to think differently so you get out of your situation. She said, because if I loan you the money, all that happens is I fix your situation. She said, do you want temporary relief or permanent help? Temporary relief or permanent help? I loan you the money, that's temporary relief. Permanent help, I teach you how to think differently so you'll come out of that situation and you'll learn how to think differently about your finances going forward. And that was amazing to me. So she's a mentor, and she still is a mentor of mine. I traveled to the US last year. She's now 81 years old this year, to go and meet her, to think about stuff differently. But that's not the only mentor. There's other people like Qari Noorbai, for example. The late Qari Noorbai, may Allah grant him the highest place in Jannah, was an incredible mentor to me. I used to go sit at his feet. I remember when I couldn't think properly, when I was concerned, when I say couldn't think properly, when I was so overwhelmed by stuff going on in life, and I didn't know what to touch first in my early 20s. I went to his house. I called him one night. I called him at 2 o'clock in the morning, 2 a.m. somewhere. I called Qari Noorbai, and I was a kid, man. I was like in my early 20s. And I said, Qari Sahab, I'm confused over some stuff. He said, come see me. 2 o'clock in the morning. I went to his home. He woke up. His wife let me in into the apartment in Lens, and then he said, okay, take this chair, sit next to my bed. I sat next to his bed. He went back to sleep. He got into bed. He went back to sleep. He said, just sit here and wait. I said, okay. I sat next to his bed. He woke up Fajr time. At Fajr time, he said, come, let's go for Salah. Took me to Nur Islam, went for Salah. Came back after, I hadn't slept. I'm sitting next to the guy's bed the whole time. He was sleeping. Came back after Fajr, sat there and started talking to me. Again, perspective. You see, folks, a mentor cannot tell you what to do in your life or how to run your life. They're just someone who's down the road further, and they can give you perspective. It's so, and you know what? You have to humble yourself to seek a mentor. A mentor cannot seek you. I can't tell you, Azhar, I can be your mentor, man. Listen, I think you need me in your life. No, a mentor. You cannot, if it comes down as a top-down approach, if you waiting for a mentor to come to you and say, I'll help you, I'll teach you, I'll do this, I'll do that, you're wasting your time, because no mentor will do that. Why? Because it's a weird kind of relationship. Then it's almost like me telling you, I know what to do in your life and I should tell you. No, it should be seeked. You should seek it. That's why this old phrase, we forgot this old phrase from centuries ago. We say, you learn at the feet of someone. We study at the feet of someone. What does it mean? That means you humble yourself at the feet of someone to learn. You realize, I don't know everything. It fascinates me, people in their 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, and they make their own decisions in life. I think, who gives you perspective? How did you know everything? How can so much genius be in one human being? It's amazing. You can't. It's impossible. So don't think you know everything. Be humble enough to know I don't know everything. When I got divorced, first thing I did was I went to seek a therapist. I went to a psychologist friend of mine. I said to her, look, I think I need to see a therapist. She said, yeah, but Imran, you're fine. The way you guys handle your divorce was really, really good. Everything's going well. You're okay. I said, I know I'm okay. That's not the point. I said, I still want to go speak to somebody. Why? Because it's an outside perspective. Mentorship is an outside perspective. It's a trust relationship. I've got a couple that mentor me in my business life and in my thinking as well. And he's only 2 years older than me. I really trust this guy. I really respect him. And I've said to him one day, him and I have very similar personalities. So we can butt heads very easily because we're both strong-willed. And I said to him, Kev, you must understand one thing. In this relationship with you, I will always be quiet. I said, I may not always agree with you, but I respect you enough that I want the information. So I will always be quiet and listen to the information. Doesn't mean I have to agree with your information, but I will listen to it. So Azhar, it's a long subject, but here's the fact of the matter is, I think the message we want to share with people is, when it comes to mentorship, humble yourself. Go seek, develop humility and go sit at the feet of someone. that you respect. And a mentor is not meant to control you. If you feel controlled by somebody, that's not a mentor. A mentor is someone who genuinely wants to share with you, genuinely gives you perspective in your life. Respect the person's time, but be humble enough to sit at their feet. And you may not agree with them, but your job is not to argue with a mentor and debate. Your job is to listen and then process. Doesn't mean you have to listen and implement everything they say. They don't control your life. That fascinates me again. People go to people and say, well, and I don't mean this in a weird way, my sheikh said I must only do it like this, I mustn't do it like that. Everything they do, their sheikh said. They can't buy a car without their sheikh saying something. I'm like, no, your sheikh is not teaching you how to think. Your sheikh is thinking for you. Don't do that. A mentor should not think for you. They should give you perspective so you learn how to think. And as a parent, don't think for your children. Teach them how to think. Because when you are not there, they will know how to think. But if you were thinking for them, when you are not there, what are they going to do? They don't know what to do anymore because you're gone. So mentorship is an incredible subject. I believe in it. I believe it's important. I believe it's critical. And I believe a mentor should challenge you in your life. For example, the mentors I have in my life challenge my thinking often. This guy, for example, I'm telling you, kid, I tell you, I trust him completely. I was extremely overweight at some point. He literally came up to me and he said, Imraan, look, I'm telling you, man, I love you, but you're going to die sooner than you should. He said, I'm just telling you, what you're doing right now is not sensible. He said, it's your life, mate. Do what you need to do. But the way you're behaving is not sensible. You're going to die sooner than you think, sooner than you should. And you're not going to see your grandkids if you carry on the way you're carrying on. And that got me thinking because I trust the man and I respect him. And I said, okay, he said, meet me in the gym tomorrow morning. I said, tomorrow? How about next week? He said, no, tomorrow morning. And that's when he started getting me on a path. I'm just so grateful as a mentors. I would have been a very different father if it hadn't been for mentors. I would have been a different human being because, I mean, like integrity, for example. Let me say one last story and then we wrap up. There's a gentleman that he's now passed on. And he was similar to my dad, for example, man of integrity. This man, and he was traveling somewhere in the world, very wealthy businessman, and he bought himself a very expensive diamond ring when he was traveling somewhere, and he put it on his finger, and he was coming through customs. And you know, of course, if you come to customs, if you got what hand or you're on your finger, they can't stop you and ask you bought overseas, and it's on your hand, it's on you're wearing it. And they asked him, do you have anything to declare? He took his ring off his finger and he put it on the table and he said, yes, I've got that to declare. It was an incredibly expensive diamond ring. And they said to him, excuse me, why did you do that? You didn't have to. We wouldn't have known. We would have known that you bought that while you were traveling now. And he said, yeah, but I would have known. And that lesson, Azhar, stuck with me because when we do something in this world, even if the other person doesn't know, we know. And you got to live with yourself, mate. With your mistakes, with your faults, with your weaknesses, with friends. And it's being a person of integrity. I learned that from a mentor. Now, does it mean we mustn't go to Quran and Hadith? Don't get me wrong. Quran and Hadith is a good mentor. It's the best mentor. The best mentor. But I needed Qari Nurbai to interpret stuff for me. I needed him because it's there. Yes, I can say, well, I'll just read the Quran and Hadith myself only. Yes, okay, I do that. But I also needed someone to share with me perspective because I'm a human being. And there's nothing wrong if you seek mentorship. Nothing wrong if you feel like you need perspective and humble yourself at the feet of someone and ask for advice. And I promise you, the best people in this world will give you advice gladly because they want other people to grow. Anyway, I hope that makes sense.
Absolutely. Jazakallah khairan for your time again this morning. Imraan Choonara, personal excellence mentor and the director at the African Agency. Well, enjoy the rest
Alhamdulillah,
of the day.
shukran. You too. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And this program has been brought to you by the Africa Muslims Agency.